Let me move y'all over here. Will you make sure his door gets shut? Yeah. I need to put all this up. Good morning. I didn't put none of this up last night, so here we are putting it all up so I can get my stuff out. Charlie, sir, sir, that dog. Good morning. Okie dokie. Come on, Oscar. Oh my goodness. Come. No. No, we're just lay down now. No, we're not having conversation. Good morning. You're laying down. Get up here and lay down. Y'all guess what time I woke up this morning? Y'all just guess. Okay. Amanda said 7:15. Close. Good morning. 10 till 7:30. There it is. 7. I woke up right at 7, my friends. I don't know why, but I think the time change thing is going to kick my butt here for a minute. I tried so hard. I even hit snooze from like 5 to 7. I hit snooze for 2 hours. That is a dedication. That's just going to make me feel worse. But it don't help. It's freezing in this house. It is freezing. Steve didn't wake up early either. That nap was a really bad idea for us yesterday. But that's okay because we're going to have a good day. Adrian, I don't know. That makes me sad. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to talk about yesterday's Bible in a year reading. It snowed a little bit yesterday. It is 3:30 a.m. in Alaska. And you're awake? Girl, how? Good morning. Good morning. We're gonna be in let's just do Deuteronomy chapter 1. Let's do that today. That was yesterday's Bible reading in a year. Let's get on my nerves. Yeah, that was yesterday's Bible reading in a year, and then I'm gonna do my own for today, some of it. That is wild. You are so sweet. I cannot. I'd be on YouTube watching the replay. No. I cannot. That is amazing. I love it. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 1, my friends, is where we're going to be. When you're ready, say I am. I guess I'll leave my sticky notes there until I see it. I've got to get woke up. I've got to get woke up. I'll be honest with you guys. I am not. That's one thing that I'm working on in my own spiritual life is like praying out loud over people. I'm good at doing it with my kids, but I'm not good at it with like a lot of people. So it is something that I'm just working on. In the school drop-off line, Adrian. So it's just something that I'm working on. I'm still very, like, praying in front of everybody is still something that I am just not good at. So I am, I'm working on that. I usually get, when we do our Zooms for our membership, I usually get one of our girls to do the prayer for us. And she does a fabulous job. It's just something that I'm working on. Like, I know the words to say. I think it's mostly fear in myself, I guess, that I'm just not going to say the right thing, just like a lot of people come to me with. I don't have that problem in my regular prayer life, but I do have that problem when I'm praying out loud for people. So, and I know how to do it. It's probably just a whole comfort thing. And I know that we don't grow up staying in our comfort zones. I got it. I'm working through it. Yes. I appreciate that. I love you guys. I know I love the moment of silence. I love that. She said, Lord, we come together to learn the wonderful things in your law. Open our eyes that we may see and turn our heart towards your status and not towards selfish gain. Amen. I love that. I love that. That was good. I hope we do receive this word this morning because this is a very good word. It's going to introduce you to Deuteronomy, which if you're reading the Bible in the year, then is going to be very good for you, right? It's fear. So I don't know that the enemy is of fear. I don't know that I necessarily say that, but then again, the enemy will install fear to keep you from doing something. So, we have to learn how to overcome fear, which I've done a lot in my life. This is just another one of those things because I'm on a journey just like you guys. I had to, learn how to study. And then I was nervous as ever going live on TikTok for the first time. And now here we are, right? And now I do it all the time. And I have so many online besties. I was scared when I launched my membership. I've literally been scared with every move I've ever made regarding my walk with the Lord. Literally everything, right? And then I started giving up things, and that was also very, very hard and very, very fearful to give up things that I really didn't want to give up, but he called me to anyway, right? So there was that. And now this is just another thing. So he works on you one thing at a time, right? Like, he's going to start changing every little detail about you to make you perfect in him. And this is one of my things. I'm good with the words. I'm good with the words, and I know what to say. It's just doing it in public. It was a long time I've heard. Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I know what to say. It's just, we'll overcome it together, my friends. I love that. We will do it ourselves. Listen, sometimes when I'm just speaking, I consider myself praying. So, I don't feel like prayer is always head bowed and eyes closed, right? Like, I don't feel that way about prayer. I talk to God almost all the time. Almost. I mean, I can just be working on something and I'll be talking to him, right? Singing a song, I'll be thinking about him, reading the Bible, I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw that, and I'll be talking to him. So, I mean, and then I'll even say things when I'm talking to you guys that to me is a total prayer, right? But I don't feel like you act like that we always have to. There is a time and a place for the head bowed, eyes closed, becoming low before the Lord. But I don't always see it like that. I can be saying something, I'll be like, that's a total prayer. And just give it to the Lord. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yes. Listen, oopsie. I don't know how I keep doing that. But I do hope that we receive this word this morning, because this is going to be a good word. And I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, and anything that y'all are dealing with today, you give it over to him. And let him guide your steps in your journey. I hope you learn to be obedient to the Lord and let him work in your life, because it's a beautiful work that he can do. And then at the end, I'll say some more, because there's more I want to say. All right, are you ready? Deuteronomy, there we go, got it. Chapter 1. Let's go ahead and jump in for our reading today. Y'all hear my birds? Y'all hear my birds? All right, these are the words that Moses spoke to all the people of Israel while they were in the wilderness east of the Jordan. They were camped at the Jordan Valley near so-and-so, between so-and-so and one side of this, blah, da, 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 da. Verse 2. Normally, it only takes 11 days to travel to Mount Sinai, to so-and-so, going by the way of Mount so-and-so. But 40 years after the Israelites left Egypt on the first day of the 11th month, Moses addressed the people of Israel, telling them everything the Lord had commanded him to say. This took place after he had defeated King Sihon of the Amorites, something along those lines, who ruled in so-and-so, and had defeated King Og of another place, who ruled in another place. While the Israelites were in the land of Moab, that's what we're going to call it, east of the Jordan River, Moses carefully explained the Lord's instruction as follows. So, Deuteronomy, you guys, is actually, so I can't remember how many chapters it is, but it's a decently long book. 34. It is 34 chapters. Um, those 34 chapters is basically people believe it to be between a week and 2 weeks time. Okay, so these 34 chapters is going to be between like 1 week and 2 weeks, right? Because Moses had 3 things he had to do before he handed over, okay, the reins, okay, to somebody else, because he's going to hand it over to Joshua, of whom we've been seeing. If you have been reading your Bible in a year, you have seen Joshua's name over and over and over again, but you might not catch it until you realize or know that that is going to be the next leader of Israel, right? He's going to take the reins from Moses, all right, and take these people into the promised land. This is going to be so good, right? So it's almost time to go to the promised land. It's kind of like the curtains are opening up. And the first thing that Moses needs to do is he needs to remind the people of everything the Lord has already done for them. So he's basically, okay, it's a lot of repetitiveness in Numbers and Leviticus and Deuteronomy, right? Like you're going to see a lot of the stuff that you already seen. All right. It's a lot of repetitive nature. But Moses is going to remind them because because you ready for this? The people going into the promised land is not the slaves that left Egypt. Generation has went by, okay? Because those people were so disobedient to the Lord that he wasn't going to let them go into the promised land because they would ruin the promise. Okay? So he waited for another generation, okay, to go into the promised land. Okay? So Moses is having to remind them of everything that God has done for the people, because some of these people may have experienced it with their elders and some of them may have not, right? So he needs to remind them because this is a story that's going to be passed down from generation to generation, right? So he's going to tell that to them, right? He doesn't want them to forget everything that God has done for them. And even in the wilderness, they were blessed. He doesn't want them to forget that. You know, my hair is getting on my nerves. He doesn't want them to forget that. And I love that so much because I think that if we would sit down and we would actually think about our past. I know a lot of us like to talk about it and, you know, we talk about our past as it being hard or as, you know, as it probably was, right? And all the things, right? But I beg the question that if we really look back at the things that we have been through in life, you'll find God on every page. I know that there was years ago, my children were little. So let's see. I think my daughter was right around 1. And she's 8 now, right? Which would have made my son about 2, right? I wasn't in a big relationship with the Lord then, but me and Arthur were struggling. We couldn't keep that power bill. I'll tell you what, that was a struggle for us a long time. And we let it get behind a couple months, but there's something about our power bill, in where I live at, the company that we have, is you have to be about 3 months behind, before they're actually going to cut it off. Our electric was scheduled to be cut off a day, right? And our tax money hit our bank account and I was able to pay that electric and we never went without. Those little details was God showing up in our life, even though I didn't know it yet. Even though that I wasn't seeking him, even though I wasn't looking for him, he was still taking care of me. All the things that just miraculously worked out when I wasn't, focusing my eyes on him, that was all Lord. That was all the Lord. Because even though I was in the wilderness, I was being blessed. Right? Even though I was in a time of struggle in my life, he was still showing up. Even though that I wasn't asking for him to, even though I wasn't looking for him to, even though I wasn't praying to him, back then, God, I always believed in the Lord, right? I always believed in him. I always knew he was in control. I trusted him with certain aspects of my life, but I definitely didn't grow my relationship with him. And yet he was showing up for me. Right? So I loved this because Moses is reminding them that even in the wilderness they were blessed. And I just beg to differ that if we really look at our lives, even in the wilderness we're blessed. The Lord ain't let us down just because we're in a season of our life that maybe we don't like. That don't mean that he's let us down. That don't mean that he has quit showing up for us. None of that means that. It just simply means that you're in a hard time in your life and start being obedient to the Lord so that we can go to another place, right? Like that's what it means. So let's keep reading in verse 6. It's some of my favorite stuff right here. It says, when we were at Mount Sinai, the Lord our God said to us, you have stayed at this mountain long enough. Ooh, I love this part. It's time to break camp and move on. I underlined that before I ever highlighted it. And I only wrote one sentence, but y'all know we're gonna talk about this because ooh, it's so good. You have been at a place. We're in Deuteronomy chapter 1, we're at verse 6 and 7. You have been at this place in your life for long enough. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You have stayed here long enough. It's time to break camp and move on. There's something in your life that you've constantly held on to. Right? You've held on to it. You ain't wanting to let it go. It has a hold on you for some reason and you're not sure why, but you're just not ready to give it up yet. But the Lord says, where I'm calling you to is better than where I'm delivering you from. You have stayed here long enough. Right? Yes. My teeth are fake. First time I ever got that. Listen, y'all want to know about my fake teeth? Just come on over to the membership because we be talking about it sometimes. It gets epic when we be talking about it. I absolutely love my fake teeth. I got the prettiest smile in every room, and I'm happy with it. That is so funny. Okay. You stayed here long enough. There's something in your life that you're not wanting to give up, right? And you're not, you're just like the Israelites, right? At some point in our life, we all end up like the Israelites. Danger, adventures, bless it, Lord. Don't y'all start. Don't y'all start. We're not starting with it. If you know, you know. Don't y'all start with a danger, adventures. You've stayed at the mountain long enough. Like the Israelites, they were scared. They just kept letting fear, keep them from moving on. Right? And they were so comfortable in Egypt. Even though they were slaves, they were comfortable. So while they were called into this wilderness that was only supposed to take them 11 days to get through, right? They pondered too much on, why has the Lord brought me this far to leave me here? He hasn't. He hasn't. He hasn't brought you this far to leave you here. And they kept failing to see that over and over and over again. I often wonder how many of you have said that. How many of you have said, Lord, why did you bring me this far to only bring me this far? Let me let you in on a little secret. He didn't. He didn't bring you this far to only bring you this far. It's up to you how far you go. The Lord is looking at you and saying, you stayed here long enough. It's time to get up and move. You're the one that's saying, Lord, I don't think I want to move. I really want to take all this with me. And he's saying, what I want to give you is greater than what you will leave behind. Will you be obedient? Right? Like that's so good. It says, go to the hill country of so-and-so and all the neighboring regions, the Jordan Valley, the hill country, the western foothills, the... I don't know how to say that one because I can't pronounce it. And coastal plain. Go to the land of the so-and-so to so-and-so, all the way to the great so-and-so river. Verse 8, look, I'm giving all this land to you. Go in and occupy it, for it is the land the Lord swore to give your ancestors. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to all their descendants. He's already got something out there with your name on it. He said, look, I'm giving this land to you. Go in and occupy it. I mean, that's so good. He's already got something else for you. The question is, will you move? It's literally what I wrote down. When God tells you it's time to move, will you? When he tells you it's time to go, it's time to move on, it's time to go, it's time to go claim something else I'm going to give you, it's time. Are you going to say, yes, Lord? Or are you going to say, Lord, I'm too scared to move. Lord, I'm too scared to go. Lord, I don't want to leave this behind. The choice is yours, right? You get to decide. We're on Deuteronomy chapter 1. Yes, Adrian. I love that. It gets better. Verse 9. Moses continued. At the time I told you, you are too great a burden for me to carry all by myself. The Lord your God has increased your population, making you as numerous as the stars. And may the Lord, the God of your ancestors, multiply you 1,000 times more and bless you as he promised. But you are such a heavy load to carry. How can I deal with all your problems and bickering? Choose well-respected men of each tribe who are known for their wisdom and understanding, and I will appoint them as your leaders. So it was hard. This ain't a part that I want to focus on. It is a part that spoke to me, especially when I was reading it. But this ain't a part that I want to focus on today, but he's just telling the story, so we're going to hit on it just a tad bit. It was hard for Moses to lead all those people. There was lots and lots of people, right? And Moses was the leader of all these people. It was so hard for him to be the leader. Because there were so many people and not enough Moses. I can relate, buddy. I can relate. So it was hard for him to lead all those people by himself because it was a really heavy burden to carry. God chose this man who was not of good speech, right? Who was doubtful in his own self and didn't know that he could do it, right? And God said, lead these people to the promised land. Now Moses was in his true calling, right? And yet that burden was so hard to carry because there were so many people and only one Moses, right? So what did Moses do? He needed godly help. He chose help based on the character of the people. So verse 13 tells you what type of character the leaders had to have to be chosen as leaders. So they had to have wisdom and understanding, and the Lord would appoint them, right? Let's keep reading. Then you responded, your plan is a good one. So I took the wise and respected men you had selected from your tribes and appointed them to serve as judges and officials over you. Some are responsible for thousands of people, some for 100, some for 50, and some for 10. I just want to say right here, I didn't take any notes, but that right there shows you that no matter if you are over 100, 50, or 10, or 1,000, you're equally as important. Equally as important. You don't have to have some sort of just big miraculous calling to be walking in your purpose in this life. Everybody has been called for something different. Are you going to be faithful with what he called you to now? Are you going to be faithful in the little things? Whether he called you to lead thousands, 100, 10, or what if he only called you to lead one right now? Are you going to be faithful with the small things? Right? Are you going to be faithful with the small things? A lot of people don't know what their calling is. Can I tell you something? I'm just out here winging it with the Lord. Y'all don't believe me? Ask Kaylee. Ask my employees. They're like, how do you want to do this? However the Lord tells you to. However he tells you to do it. Yep. Because I didn't know my calling either. It wasn't something that just hit me in the face one day and I was like, ooh, that's it. No. Today I'm walking in it and I know that I am. I know I'm where God wants me to be, and I know we're not through yet. And this just blows my mind every time I say it. Blows my mind because I live the life now that I always dreamed of, right? And it blows my mind that it's not over yet. He's still giving me dreams and things that he wants us to do. And I mean, it's just amazing. But upon arrival at this OSET area, I had no idea. It was little steps of obedience every step of the way. That's all it was. So I started a business, right? And it didn't look nothing like the one that I have today. I actually used, I know he gave me crafting skills, right? So I started doing that. I actually started making epoxy pens and epoxy cups. And I made good money at it too. And then the Lord gave me this thought, Kelsey, I didn't call you to do this all the time. And I realized, Kelsey, you're trying to build a company. You can't build a company like this because you can't hire help. You can't hire help to help you with an art. It's just like somebody trying to hire somebody to help them paint. You can't do that. You're the artist, right? You can't do that. So I said, okay, well then what are we supposed to do? The Lord says, give it up. I said, Lord, hold up, wait a minute, calm down. I know you see that this is providing for my family. Are you sure? He's like, I'm going to teach you a new craft. I'm like, Lord, just completely give it up. I mean, just really, really. And me and him went back and forth on this conversation. And he was like, yep. Ooh, that hurts a little bit. I don't know if I like that. But it wasn't about what I liked. I almost talked myself out of it. I said, because I started learning how to do the sublimation stuff. And I almost talked myself out of it. I told my husband, I said, what if I take this off of here? I was like, and then nobody buys. Which is funny to look back now because, wow. But we just came to the conclusion, well, if that happens, then you just add it back to your website. I said, okay, yeah, that's right. I can do that. That was fear trying to creep in and stop me from going where the Lord wanted me to go. Right? I took that off my website. I took all the epoxy stuff off my website. I rebranded my whole entire company that I was building. And we became a completely Christian company. Everything that we created and made had to do with teaching you the Word of God. Right? And you want to know what? Business blew up. He had a bigger plan. Not long after that, my TikTok would actually start picking up and blowing up. Even though I was out here winging the TikTok, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. You say, Kelsey, how do you get things to go viral? I don't know. I have no clue. Not one. TikTok picks and chooses. We're winging it. You're not going to know your calling, right? And then after that happened, he said, okay, hire help. I hired help. I said, okay, I'm going to hire help. He said, okay, launch a membership. I said, Lord, are you sure? We tried that last time. You remember how that went? That didn't go good last time. He said, just do it and be quiet. I said, fine. And I did it. We have over 300 people in there now. Like, mind blowing. That is what I get to focus on doing now. It's what I always wanted to do. And now I run a company and have employees and get to teach people, and I have no idea where we're going to go. I do believe that I think we'll end up having a Purpose Home store. We're doing a conference. Like, excuse me. Nobody would give me a stage to tell my story on, so I created one. Like, excuse me, Lord? Why are you so good to me? So, you won't know. Every time I was making one of those big moves, I had no idea where I was headed. It was just the obedience to the call. And you want to know why I think he will not tell you what your calling is? Because you might not go if he tells you. You might not go. Last night, I was on here and I read out of one of my journals. And one of the lines that I read that I had wrote, it said, Lord, I'm trying to find my path for you. Guide me. Tell me where it is. Lead me to it. He led me right into losing my house, having to sell everything, having to move back in with my parents, and my husband died. Not the path I would have chose. Just saying. But the Lord knows better. Right? And now look. What a wonderful husband. Like, it really feels like a whole Job moment, because it's like he restored everything that I lost more than I lost it. Okay. It's a whole Job moment. But you still don't know where you're going. I still don't know my calling. I do, but I don't. But I make my calling about one person. It's not some big dream. It's not just saying, Lord, give me a big old church and give me lots of people to preach to. No. That ain't what I want. It's not about these big fancy, I want to be somebody that's big and fancy and has it all. No, that's never what it's been about. It says, Lord, I just want to be able to pay my bills and teach other people that you'll come through for them. That's all I want to do, Lord. And he said, all right. And that's what I focused on every single day. It's one person. It's not 130 people. It's not 200 people. It's not the 300 that's in the membership. It's none of that. It is one person a day. I said, Lord, let me run into one person today that needs you, that needs to hear what I got to say, that you're giving me to tell them. And that's it. That's enough for me. That's perfectly enough. That's all I want, Lord. And he said, I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to give you more. But if he told you where he was calling you and what you were going to have to go through to get there and how hard it was going to be to get there, a lot of you wouldn't go in the first place. And you would be just like the Israelites, spending the rest of your life complaining that you have nothing instead of following after the calling you know that's on your life, because complaining is easier than action. Complaining was easier for the Israelites than just believing that the Lord was going to come through for them. You get to choose. You get to choose. You don't gotta stay in this place of scaredness, depression, problems. You don't got to. Listen, let's jump down. Hold on. Let's jump down. Hold on. I gotta figure out. Okay. In Deuteronomy chapter 2, I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you read this chapter, you're going to see a remembrance of when Moses had sent out these people to go into this other land to see if they should take it. Should we take this land? And he sent 12 spies, and those spies come back. They said, those people are too big. They're too big. We're too little. They're totally going to eat us alive. Let's not go. Let's not do it. That looks way too scary for us to go do that.
Is your coffee okay?
No. Will you make me some more? They said it's way too scary. Let's not do that. I hear my own self and see some. They let their problem rob them of a victory. Granted, they would eventually get that victory because they'd send some more spies, and those spies would be godly, and they would see that God ain't ever going to send you up against something that he's going to let take you. I'm just saying. Verse 24 of chapter 2 says, Moses continued, then the Lord said, now get moving. How long has the Lord been looking at you? And you have been looking at your problems instead of looking at your God. And he's looking at you and he says, it's time to get moving. It's time to get moving. Quit standing still. Cross so-and-so. Look, I will hand over to you Shihon, that's what we're going to call him, the so-and-so, the king of so-and-so, and I will give you his land. Attack him and begin occupying the land. Beginning today, I will make the people throughout the earth terrified of you. Terrified of the Israelites, the people who are always walking around scared. LOL. I'd be writing that in my Bible sometimes. When they hear reports about you, they're going to tremble with fear. The Israelites, the same people who have been scared this whole time. They've been walking in obedience, scared, fighting the Lord's will, all these things this whole time. And he said, I'm going to hand your enemy over to you, and they're going to be scared of you. See, y'all need to quit looking at your problem as it's too big, I'm too small. You need to start looking at your problem of the enemy is already scared of me. Because who's with me is greater than who's with them. And I'm not scared, right? I said, when we walk with God, we no longer have to worry about our enemies. Our enemies have to worry about us. Because when we have God on our side, we are always on the winning side. Problems don't have to rob you of your victory. Your victory is already yours. Right here, it says, chapter 2, let's see what verse is this. The end of 8, beginning of 9. Then we turned north along the desert route through Moab. The Lord warned us, do not bother the Moabs, the descendants of Lot, or start war with them. I have given them their property, and I will not give you any of their land. Okay. If you keep reading, if you keep going, it says, verse 11, are also known as so-and-so. Let's see. Verse 12, the earlier times, the so-and-so lived at this place, and they were driven out and displaced by the descendants of Esau, as Israel drove out the people of Canaan when the Lord gave Israel their land, right? My favorite part is verse 9 right there. I gave them their property. I will not give you any of their land. God isn't going to give you something that is somebody else's. And somebody else cannot take from you what he gave you. Steve's going to turn his phone down. Like, I love that. And that's what he isn't going to give you something that somebody else is. And nobody else is going to be able to keep you from what's yours. Do you want to know the only person, thank you, that keeps, sir, the only person that keeps you from what's yours, what the Lord wants to give you, is you. You stand in the way. The Israelites, the next generation, would get to go into the promised land, but not the one that went in, even though they should have. This was an 11-day journey. Took them 40 years. Yep. Who stood in the way of why it should take 11 days or 40? They did. All their complaining, all their bickering, all their not trusting the Lord, all their disobedience. It was their fault. Listen. It didn't have to take that long. Their heart posture wasn't in the right place. Some of y'all have been looking at your problems like they are going to be the death of you. Why don't you start looking at your problems like you are going to put them to death? It don't matter how big the problems are. You're letting your problem, your situation, rob you of your victory. And it don't have to be like that. Listen, there are two people. There are two choices that everybody has to make. Okay? There are other people with my same story. They lost everything and lost their husband. They ended up raising their kids by themselves. There are lots of people with that story. But they didn't all end up the way I did. You say, Kelsey, why do some people overcome the obstacles and some doesn't? A choice has been made. It's that simple. A choice. In life, you will be faced with a time where you either let your problems overtake you.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Where you either let your problems overtake you. For both of them. You better make it clear that lasts them all week. I will not give them any more. They will starve. Being a loving mother, they spend too much money at school. There comes a time in your life where you get to decide. There are lots of people with my same story. They had my same problems, right? Why did I end up today in a Job moment where I have double everything that I left behind? Because I trusted God with the whole process and I didn't fight him through it. I said, Lord, if you said, I'll do it. Lord, if you said, I'll do it. Lord, if you say, I'll do it. But there's also people like the Israelites. Lord, why'd you bring me this far? Don't only bring me this far. You ain't gonna feed me. You ain't gonna help me. You ain't gonna do this. You ain't gonna do that. He said, how long's it been since you remembered my promises? How long's it been since you've been faithful and obedient to me? He says, you know my promise says that if I take care of the birds in the sky, that I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to give you your needs. Not all your wants, but you'll have your needs. You know that that's my promises. Why are you not hanging on to those? So the question is, how do you look at your problems? Are they something that can rob you of victory? Or are you looking at it and going into it as, oh, no, problem. Problem, you chose the wrong one. You chose the wrong one. Because I am a child of God. I got all his promises handy dandy right here, and you can try to take from me whatever you want to take, but I'm not going to let you. Right? Like, are you looking at your problems like you already got authority over those? Because it'll change your life if you do. Yeah, not today, problem. Not today. Like, how are you looking at your problems? Are they for you? Can I promise you, my future didn't look too bright when I was losing everything. It didn't look too bright when I got widowed. It didn't look too bright when I was taking those 2 kids back on into my parents' house. It didn't look too bright. The problems look pretty rough. But here we are. It was a stepping stone to where I was going. It was needed to change something inside of me so that I could be who he called me to be. Your problems are meant to teach you something. Start embracing them. Start being willing to have them, being willing to go through them. I mean, just, they don't mean that the story's over. It means that you're just getting started. It means that you are just on your way. The enemy wouldn't fight you so hard if you wasn't going somewhere big. I'm telling you. Somebody asked about how you know if it's the Lord. Does it align with his character? That's how you know it's the Lord. Does it align with his character and his promises? And if it don't, then it's not him. That's some good coffee. Let me show y'all something else that really stuck out to me, because we're not going to be able to finish all of it. But I want to show y'all something about Moses' character right here, and I hope that we can be half of who Moses is. So, Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 34. When the Lord heard your complaining, he became very angry. So he solemnly swore, not one of you from this wicked generation will live to see the good land I swore to give your ancestors, except Caleb, son of so-and-so. He will see this land because he has followed the Lord completely. He was rewarded for listening. I will give him and his descendants some of the very land he explored during his scouting mission, because he had faith in the Lord. I tell you what, that's not what we're focusing on though. 37. And the Lord was also angry with me because of you. He said to me, Moses, not even you will enter the promised land. Instead, your assistant Joshua will lead the people into the land. Encourage him, for he will lead Israel as they take possession of it. I will give the land to your little ones, your innocent children. You are afraid they would be captured, but they will be the ones who occupy it. That right there speaks so much about Moses' character, and can I tell you why? Moses has spent, I hope this is the type of people we want to become. Because in today's society, in today's society, we're not being like Moses. Let me break it down for you. Moses' character. He had spent all this time dealing with these people. These unfaithful people. These complaining people. These people really be getting on Moses' nerve. Right? You see it all through. They be getting on his last nerve. They be making him angry, not listening to him. He's trying to lead them. They ain't listening. They getting on his nerve. He's like people. Right? He has spent 40 years with these people getting on his nerve. right? Just for the Lord to say, Moses had a bad moment where he disobeyed God out of anger. Yes, he did. And because of that, he would not get to enter the promised land with his people. So, I want to ask you a question before we keep up moving on. He had spent so much time with these people and they're bickering and they're complaining. But God said, you still have work to do. And you still have to lead these people. If God told you right now, you're not going to see this, but your people will. Moses could have gave up right then and there. He knew he wasn't getting into the promised land. What did he care if these other people did? What did he care if these other people did? He wasn't going to get to go, so why should he care about them? He could have blamed them. You're the reason that I don't get to see the promised land. I'm not taking you any further. He could have blamed them and said, I'm not going any further with y'all because y'all done got me in a bad spot. Y'all done put me in a bad spot with all that bickering and stuff. So I'm not going to teach you anymore, right? I'm not going to lead you. He could have said that because if we're being honest, a lot of people today would say that. You got me into this trouble. I'm not going to help you anymore, right? A lot of bickering and complaining. That's what we do nowadays. But Moses didn't do that. Moses led these people with the best of his ability, even though he knew he wasn't going to get to go to the promised land. That says something big. But that ain't it. That ain't it. Did y'all catch that? Instead, your assistant, Joshua, will lead the people into the land. Encourage him. Not only was he saying, Moses, you don't get to go, but I'm going to need you to encourage the leader who is. Moses, you don't get to go into the promised land because you acted out of anger and you disobeyed me. But Joshua is going to lead the people the rest of the way. Encourage him. If God told you, you can't go to the promised land because of your disobedience, but Joshua's going to finish leading them the way, and I need you to encourage him. Are you going to do that? We need to have character like Moses. He had to encourage the next leader who was going to take his place, who was actually going to fulfill his mission he was supposed to have. And you didn't see Moses complaining. You didn't see Moses complaining. He said, I'm taking responsibility for what I did. I know that I acted out of anger. I know that I acted out of disobedience. And because of that, Lord, I know I can't go to the promised land. So yes, I will encourage Joshua because I want him to have a good foundation, a good leadership. I want him to take my people the rest of the way since I cannot. The best part comes at the end, though, because Moses is listening to the Lord. We ain't got there yet, but it's coming. He ain't going to get to enter the promised land. He knows that he can't. But God shows it to him. God has mercy on him. God says, I know you worked so hard to get here. And I know some of these people, they was a little hard to deal with, buddy. I hear you. He said, so let me go show you. Moses, you can't go in, but let me show you where your people's going. I'm pretty positive. I'd have to go find exactly where it is, because I've been jumping around. But at one point, the Lord told Moses to make water come out of a rock, and Moses hit the rock out of anger. He didn't follow instructions. They still got water, but because Moses acted out of anger, it stopped him from being able to go into the promised land. Yep. He acted out of anger. Ooh, that'll preach too. Y'all better be careful. That anger be getting the best of you. I tell you what, you be acting out of anger, next thing you know, you don't get to go. No, thank you. Let's not be people who act out of anger. Let's not be people who act out of anger. My friends, I think one of my biggest things that I wanted to make today too is this 11-day journey turned into 40 years because of the position of their heart, right? Their heart didn't fully trust in the Lord. Their heart didn't listen. Don't let an 11-day journey take you 40 years because of your heart position, right? Yes, we did. Everything in the Old Testament points toward Jesus, right? You know, we really like to say that. Something useful is saving souls, right? But I get that you really like to say we wouldn't have 12 million hungry kids. But see, in America, but you see, the reason that there's hungry kids, it's our fault. See, you like to blame God a lot for the reason that bad things happen, but it's not God's fault at all. It's us humans. It's our sinful nature. We are evil at heart. We have to teach ourselves how not to be. But if we could be good humans, good perfect humans who obeyed all the laws, followed all the rules, done all the great things that we're actually set out to do instead of bickering and complaining the whole time, it'd be a lot different. But you see, we're not. So God is in who made all those children hungry. It's us. It's our sinful nature. So I know we really like to throw out here about how all these bad things, God said all these bad things. No, we did. We had a chance to be perfect. Adam and Eve had the perfect chance, and they chose not. In that moment, sin entered the world. Sin continues to live in this world. It's never God's fault for the bad things that are happening. It's ours. See, we just need somebody to blame, so we blame God. We blame the very one that can cure it. And you can say God isn't curing things, God isn't helping people, but he sends people. You see, you're just seeing what you want to see. He sends people to go and feed those children. He calls people for those exact things. He heals diseases. He don't heal them all. But he produces miracles. It needs to be heard. So, and everything I've said is fact. Yes, seek the hand of God and you'll see the hand of God in everything. Yes. He makes a way when there's no way. See, the reasons for the problem in the world, my friends, It's our fault. And we really don't like that answer because we don't like when things are our fault. But the reality is it is. But I've always and will always stand by. If you see a problem in this world that breaks your heart, then that's what you need to go after. Because that's what I did. I saw that there was hope lost in this world. Through Arthur's death, he didn't have no hope to keep going. And that made me sad. So I started a whole company around hope in the hard places. And not only did it change my life, it changed so many people that have come in contact with us. We sent out over 5,000 orders last year. Like, wow. And we're going to break that record this year. I mean, it's already epic. Like, I just can't, like, when you find something out here that absolutely breaks your heart, go after that. Go after that. Run after that. Because that is often God calling you to where you're supposed to be. He will give you something that breaks your heart. And it's your job to make a difference. We're just too stuck because we think I'm too little to make a difference. I thought the same thing. I hear you. I thought the same thing. I did. You can drive 5 minutes and be through my town. I said, Lord, I'm just little old me from a little old place. I'm a nobody. Nobody knows me. Nah, it ain't gonna be me. He said, it is you. I've chosen you. See, I was pulling a Moses. Choose somebody else. He said, no, I chose you. Right? I was pulling a Moses. If something breaks your heart, if something sets your heart on fire, go after that. That has to do with your calling. This is the theme emoji, right? I love that. I love that. Burning bush. I know, right? Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so funny. You're probably right, though. You're probably right. Oh my gosh. I love y'all. The reason there are problems in the world ain't got nothing to do with God and everything to do for us. We live in a fallen world. Please don't get that messed up. Don't make that mistake. And this world was fallen long before you entered it, and it's going to be fallen long after you are out of it. And it ain't going to be perfect again until Jesus comes back and takes us all to be with him, and he creates a new world, my friends. Yes, I'll tell you what, that is when it's going to be perfect. That's when. That's when. Can I show y'all something this morning before we get up? Maybe. Do I grab it? Hold on. I might not. Well, it's a little bit different, but I just want to show y'all. I had one of our awesome members draw us something for a cup. Y'all know how I said I wanted to start having things drawn for us that's only used on our products that tell stories? Oopsie. So she sent me this, and it's not the finished one because the army actually got added in. But look at this. You remember that story? There is chariots of fire right there. And she added in an army right here. 2 Chronicles. My friends. 2 Chronicles, the story of it. I'm going to add a verse on it. We're going to put this bad boy on a cup. This is Elisha and his servant. When the servant walked out and seen that the army was coming and got scared, and Elisha said, "Open his eyes, Lord, to let him see that who is with us is bigger than who is with them." And he opened his eyes and he seen the fire and the chariots. This is going to be such a storyteller on a Tumblr. Tell me it's not. And this is going to be signature to Purpose of Hope. And isn't this just amazing? Isn't this this is going to be a story Tumblr. They're going to say, "What is your Tumblr about?" And you're going to tell them. Who is with me is bigger than who is with them. You're going to look at this and know who is with me surrounds the army that's coming after me. This is going to be a statement piece. Ain't this awesome? And I'm going to have her draw some more stuff for us, but y'all, look at the detail. Look at that. I can't wait to show Haley when she gets... Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Ain't that nice? She did a good job, didn't she? I tell you what, y'all wait till y'all see the little army in it. Oh, it's so perfect. I can't show you because it's on my phone. And not the tablet. But it's so good. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right, my friends. I love y'all. Got lots of work to do today. And it's Monday. Well, I was going to. I might give two options. I might give two options. We'll see. I love you guys. I hope y'all have an amazing day. And I shall what? Well, it's funny. I will see y'all tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for 7 p.m. Okay? Eastern Standard Time for some more coffee talk. And it's going to be a good week, my friend. Oh, so glad you were here. It's going to be a good week, my friends. We're going to have a good week. It's going to be a good week. Are y'all ready? We didn't. No. We will tomorrow night. I will address that, girlfriend. I even wrote it down to answer for you. I will answer it tomorrow night. All right. I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow night at yes. There's a Zoom tonight. Membership Zoom at 7 p.m. tonight. But coffee talk ain't until tomorrow at 7 p.m. All right. I love y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.